Alright, we do have a second part of H.1. We're going to briefly discuss higher roots, and this is mostly just to demonstrate that square roots are not the only roots that we have. So, in order to complete this section, we want to be able to identify higher power numbers and understand order of operations. So the first thing that we have is, I'm going to refer to this as the nth root. Notice n can be any number that we want, but nth root, this is the opposite operation of raising something to the nth power. So for instance, if we have the nth root of a equals b, this is the same thing as saying a equals b to the n. We also still have a radicand. This is the number or expression inside the root. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at some examples. So if we look at example A, we have the cube root of 27. I'm going to go ahead and use factorization for these, just because many of you probably don't know your cubes and probably really struggle with your fourth powers. So if we look at 27, if I factor this, I get 27 is equal to 3 times 9, and 9 is equal to 3 times 3. Now for this one, since we are looking at cube roots, we are looking for groups of 3. When you're looking at square roots, you're looking for perfect squares or groups of 2. When we're looking at cube roots, we're looking for cubes or groups of 3. So what do we have here? I have one group of 3. This is equal to positive 3. The cube root of 27 equals 3. For example B, we have the cube root of -1. And so one thing to note is when we talked about square roots, you couldn't take the square root of a negative number. You are allowed to take the cube root of a negative number. If you cube a negative, it stays negative. Same thing when you cube root a negative number, you end up with a negative number. So the cube root of 1 is 1, and we keep our sign. Alright, we looked at square roots of fractions. We're going to do the same thing with cube roots of fractions. So if we look at this, I can treat this as the cube root of 1 over the cube root of 2. I'm sorry, cube root of 8. I'm getting ahead of myself. Cube root of 1 is 1. The cube root of 8 is 2. So the cube root of 1/8 is 1/2. All right, let's look at some fourth roots. D, we have the fourth root of 16. So again, I'm going to start off by factoring this. We get 16 is equal to 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Same thing with 4 on the other one. So on this one, note that we are looking at fourth roots. So I want a grouping of 4. I have one group of 4 2's. So the fourth root of 16 is equal to 2. Now what if we have a negative number inside our fourth root? Just like with square roots, because 4 is an even number, I cannot take the fourth root of a negative number. This is not a real solution. All right, let's see what else we can do. Let's come up to minus fourth root of 16. Now we can have the negative on the outside. We know that the fourth root of 16 is 2, and we keep our negative as it is on the outside. Okay, let's look at fifth root of negative 32. Fifth root, since it is odd, I can take the fifth root of a negative number. A negative number raised to the fifth power stays negative, so the fifth root of a negative number is also going to stay negative. So if we factor this, I get negative 32 is equal to 4 times 8. 4 is equal to 2 times 2. 8 is equal to 2 times 4. And 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Since we are dealing with a fifth root, I want groups of 5, and I do have one group of 5 2's. So the cube root of negative 32 is going to be negative 2. All right, let's try the cube root of 64. So 64, if I factor this, I get 64 is equal to 8 times 8. 8 is equal to 2 times 4. 4 is equal to 2 times 2. Same thing on this other one. So this one, we are looking at cube root. So I am looking for groups of 3. What do we have here? I have one group of 3 and a second group of 3. So what this is equal to is 2 times 2. I'm going to pull out one representative for each. And if we simplify this, we get 4. Finally, we have the cube root of 8 over 125. Just like on the previous example, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to separate this. I'm going to look at the cube root of 8 over the cube root of 125. Cube root of 8 is equal to 2. And the cube root of 125, if you need to, factor it out, but you should get 5. So that takes care of our higher roots.